Jesus went fishing and he caught 153 fish. Wow, that's a lot of fish. Hey, everybody, I'm Rex Bear. How the heck are you? Beautiful day today. And I find this fascinating because I just got done with an incredible interview with Dr. Kevin Hogan. It went almost 2.5 hours. I uploaded that on Patreon. And we got into the Bible and we got into the life of Jesus and who he most likely really was, what he was raised to do, what almost happened and what didn't happen. And absolutely incredible. Whether you're a Christian or Gnostic or agnostic or atheist, if you listen to that interview, you'll have very little doubt that Jesus did walk the earth. So, but what's interesting is when you read about Jesus and you read the teachings presented, there's oftentimes occult information embedded in the scriptures. Now, when I say occult, I'm just referring to secret information, like hidden knowledge. And a lot of this knowledge is passed on through mystery schools and secret societies, and the way that they're translated, they put secrets in there so that those that are initiated or those that study the secrets can pick up on the information. And most people, it's hiding right in front of them and they have no idea. They'll take it literal or they'll take it in a completely different aspect of what it actually means, what it represents. So overlays, that's one of the things Dr. Kevin Hogan talked a lot about, is you have these original stories that go out into the masses, and then when people attempt to change the stories, they have to create overlays because they can't just completely change the story because that the story already got out to the public. So they have to create these overlays. Check us out over on Patreon. Oh yeah, and just I wanted to let you know too also, let me give you a quick rundown on guests that will be on Patreon and Leak Project here in the coming week, because I have some amazing guests booked for the next several days, actually several months, but here we go. So John Ho tomorrow, then Sheldon Moore. Then I'm going to have Shondell, and he's going to talk about Navajo prophecy. He was raised in a very old school, traditional Navajo environment, and he has some amazing stories and prophecies and testimonies and Navajo traditions to share with us. Then I've got Leo Gazami on the show after that, Christopher O'Brien, the mysterious San Luis Valley. He is the leading expert in cattle mutilations and other paranormal phenomena. And then I've got Brian Dendera, I've got Brian that is going to be talking about the planetary magic and planetary alchemy from Dendera, Egypt, ancient Egyptian alchemy and magic. And then on the 7th, after that, the day after that, I'm going to have John Miller, who is a retired Department of Defense, retired military personnel, and he has some amazing testimonies on the paranormal and possibly extraterrestrial or some type of nefarious entities that people might refer to as demons. It's all about verbiage, right? So I've got some great shows coming up and definitely some amazing previous shows. Like I go back and listen to some of the shows that I did with Gerald Clark and Robert Stanley. I've talked to Jacques Vallée, the shows that I've done with Kevin Hogan and Sheldon Moore and Jimmy Jones. I mean, I could say names for hours, folks. Diamond, the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. We've got a lot of history. So if you want to watch those shows, go back and listen to them on Patreon and Leak Project. Now, when Jesus goes fishing, and this is in John 20, John 21, actually, and let's look at the Young's literal translation. I'm going to do a screen share in a minute here. It describes how Jesus goes fishing and he catches 153 fish. So, like, did he really catch 153 fish, or is there something more to that? And Dr. Kevin Hogan is excellent at decoding and interpreting the real life aspects of biblical figures, whether or not they were real, what they were most likely like at that time, and just an incredible job. What he doesn't get into as much is the esoteric side of things, which is what I typically do: the numerology, the zodiac connections, astrotheology, astrology, etc., the other mythologies and scriptures and cuneiform tablets that predate the biblical texts that often describe similar stories and scenarios, right? So when he asked me, he said, Rex, this one's for you. He said, what about in the Gospel of John, chapter 21, when Jesus catches 153 fish? What does that mean? And I thought about it and I was like, 153 fish. It has to have something to do with Pisces. It has to have something to do with maybe the amount of stars in a certain constellation. That's what my mind thought, right? Because you've obviously got fish. Fish is connected to Pisces, the sign of the fish in the zodiac, two fishes. That is the sign of Pisces. Jesus was the mythology of Jesus is often associated with the age of Pisces, which is what we are currently in. And we haven't quite moved over into the age of Aquarius yet. I'll get more into that in a little bit. But Jesus catches 153 fish, right? So I'm like, wow, what does that mean? What does that mean? And so I gave my thought to Kevin, and then I looked it up. I looked up the number 153. So first of all, before I give the answer to this, I want to ask you, what do you think it means when Jesus catches 153 fish? Or do you just take that at face value? Like he goes out, he goes fishing, he catches a whole bunch of fish, and the number was 153. I want to get your thoughts, opinions, comments on that. I'm going to pause for a second, and then I'm going to share with you what comes up in the search results when you type that in, because it's not anywhere close to what I came up with. All right, you ready? Okay, so check this out. Let's do a screen share. Here we go. Google Chrome. This is, I just go to the Young's literal translation. I mean, you can do the King James version, the New International Version. You can pick a multitude of translations, but the literal translation here is about as close as you're going to get unless you're reading it directly from Hebrew or Greek or the original scriptures or those that are far older than what we have access to today. And that's one of the things Kevin describes in detail is how Jesus didn't have a Bible like we do today. The scholars of religion didn't have a Bible like we do today. The Bible was compiled hundreds of years after Jesus passed, after Jesus moved to the next level. So here we go. After these things did Jesus manifest, this is John 21, himself again to the disciples of the Sea of Tiberias. And he did manifest himself thus. So there were together Simon, Peter, Thomas. Simon Peter said to them, I go away to fish. They say to him, we go, we also with thee. They went forth and entered into the boat immediately, and on that night they caught nothing. And morning being now come, Jesus stood at the shore, yet indeed the disciples did not know that it is Jesus. Jesus therefore said to them, lads, have ye any meat? They answered him, no. And he said to them, cast the net at the right side of the boat, and ye shall find. They cast, therefore, and no longer were they able to draw it from the multitude of the fishes. The disciple, therefore, whom Jesus was loving, said to Peter, the Lord it is. Simon, Peter, therefore, having heard that it is the Lord, did gird on the outer coat, for he was naked, and did cast himself into the sea. And the other disciples came by the little boat, for they were not far from the land, but as it were about 200 cubits off, dragging the nets of the fishes. When therefore they came to the land, they behold a fire of coals lying, and a fish lying on it, and bread. Jesus said to them, bring ye from the fishes that ye caught now. Simon Peter went up and drew the net up on the land, full of great fishes, and 153, and though they were so many, the net was not rent. So that means the net wasn't torn, They pull up 153 fishes, and they're massive. 153 huge fish pulled out of the water, and the net's fine. 153, right? Here we go. So you type in Jesus catches 153 fish. Do a Google search as an example. Brings up Jesus catches 153 fish. And then you start reading through all of these theories about what it means. And like, look at this verse by verse right here. It's in the first search that pulls up 153 fishes equals IMGD question mark. He was declaring to them that not only was he the son of God, but that he was God. I don't, I mean, are you sure? Or are you just like, explain that more to me? Because I don't see anything that says that per se. Then do the 153 fish in John 21 count for anything? Question mark. What is the significance of 153 fish? All right, let's see what Bible verse study says. There's no answer there. Okay, so check this out. This is interesting. In the Bible, the Gospel of John includes the narrative of the miraculous catch of 153 fish as the third appearance of Jesus after his resurrection. So this is the third appearance after his resurrection. That's significant. The number is clearly an international detail or an intentional detail, given the lack of precision and detail elsewhere in the story. Okay, now this is interesting. So what is the spiritual meaning of 153? Augustine of Hippo argued that the significance lay in the fact that 153 is the sum of the first 17 integers. 153 is the 17th triangular number, with 17 representing the combination of divine grace, the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit, and law, the 10 commandments. Interesting. Okay. See what else we got here. Then it goes on to say the 153 literal fish probably symbolized the gospel going to the nations. In Matthew 4:19, Jesus told his disciples, "Follow me and I will make you fishers of men." The point wouldn't be actual fish. The fish are people, sinners in need of a savior. And no, none of you guys are getting this. Not one. Look at this. None of them. How many scholars and how many people for how many years have tried to figure this out? It's simple, really. 153. Check this out. He's fishing, right? He's fishing. He catches 153 fish. Well, the number 153 is associated with the geometric shape known as the Vesica Piscis as a triangular number. Hello, Vesica Piscis. Pisces is the fish. 153, a geometric shape. That makes sense. That's brilliant. Brilliant. It's the number connected and associated with the geometric shape known as the Vesica Piscis or mandorla. In the measurement of a circle, refer to the ratio as 153 over 265 as constituting the measure of the fish, the ratio being an imperfect representation. As a triangular number, 153 is the sum of the first 17 integers and is also the sum of the first 5 positives. The number 153 is also a hexagonal number and a truncated triangular number, meaning that 115 and 153 are all triangle numbers. Hence the third time of his resurrection, a triangle, 3 lines make a triangle. Hello, shawing. This is amazing. The number 153 is the 17th triangular number. The colors show that 153 is also the sum of the first 5 positive factorials. Take a random positive integer divisible by 3, split that number into its base 10 digits, take the sum of the cubes, go back to the second step. Another feature of the number 153 is that it is also the limit of the following algorithm. Listen to this. The hidden words authored by Baha'u'llah, who Baha is, believe is the third Abrahamic manifestation of God after Jesus, contains 153 proverbial expressions, 71 in Arabic, 82 in Persian. Wow. Jerome reached much the same conclusion as Augustine that the figure is an allegorical representation of totality. In his commentary on in Ezekiel, he propounded the hypothesis that 153 was meant to represent the whole universe of fish, citing as proof that contemporary poets, giving Oppian as an example, believed that there were 153 species of fish in the world. Listen to this. Writers claiming a major role for Mary Magdalene noted that in Greek, isopsephy, her epithet, bears the number 841, 341, 38, 58, equaling 153. Thus, it is suggested revealing her importance. Similarly, the phrase, the net used in the passage bears the number 1224, which is 8 times 153, as do some other phrases. The significance of this is unclear, given that Koine Greek provides a choice of several noun endings with different isopsephy values. The number 153 also has been related to the Vesica Piscis, with the claim that Archimedes used 153 as a shorthand or abbreviation for the square root of 3, hence the number 3 again, the third time they saw him after his resurrection, or the number 3 there on the measurement of the circle. Okay, so for the square root of 3 and is on the measurement of the circle. However, examination of that work shows this to be only partly correct. Evagrius Ponticus referred to the catch of 153 fish as well as to the mathematical properties of the number 153, 100 plus 28 plus 25, with 100 a square number, 28 a triangular number, and 25 a circular number when describing his 153 chapter work on prayer. Louis de Montfort, in his fifth method of saying the rosary, connects the catch of 153 fish with the number of Hail Marys, said 3 plus 15 sets of 10, while St. Paul's School in London was founded in 1512 by John Colet to teach 153 poor men's children, also in reference to the catch. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's incredible. And you definitely want to listen to the podcast that I did with Kevin. It is incredible. It's about 2.5 hours. Go check us out on Patreon. And trust me, folks, I didn't want to do this. It was hard to take down 4,500 videos. Tens of millions of views. Tens of millions. I think over 100 million views. Well over 100 million views. Now, poof. Where'd they go? Well, we want to keep sharing content. We want you to keep watching the podcasts. And that's why we did that, because we want to make sure everything stays smooth and we can continue to share this information with you. So trust me, I didn't want to do that, but we have to stay with the groove in order to continue to share this information. And I figured that was more important. So I was willing to bite down on the ego, kind of bite down on the hand and be like, oh. Now, you can watch those videos on Patreon and you can watch those videos on Leak Project. That's what they're there for. And I want to thank you so much for being awesome. I want to thank you for all your support. I want to thank you for all the shows that you watch. Please share these videos. Please hit the thumbs up. Please leave a comment. That helps with the algorithm so they know that people enjoy the shows. I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Keep being the change the world needs to see. Have a beautiful day.